All right, cyber traders, welcome on back here this Monday, November 23rd, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. Welcome on back here for our afternoon meeting. Let's get a quick sound check just to begin. Make sure everyone can hear me loud and clear. Whew, throat feels a lot better now compared to how it did actually during class this morning. Whew, that was tough. Great to see all of us, though. Chuck, Dave, Mike, Michael. Great to see you folks. Debbie, John, Sharon, Lewis, the whole team here in the Cyber Group Trading Room. Great to see you all loud and clear from All Perfect. And for all of us joining on social media, Facebook Live and YouTube, as always, welcome on back. So with that in mind, we're going to go through this pretty quickly because we have class in the morning. We also have class in the afternoon here. So at 3 p.m. Eastern time, we're continuing what we had started from this morning, phase 2, lesson number 2. We're going to be talking pretty much all about the ECN book, not just this class, but the next class ahead. So that being Wednesday the 25th, just once we come back. But nonetheless, like, there's a lot to talk about even here on this PLTR trade. I'll save that conversation for class. Nice little tease, right? But PLTR breaking all-time highs right now. We're easily going to put this on our trade list going into the afternoon, or well, rather, how about this? Our watch list, as we always like to say, heading into the afternoon. I don't know why I just said trade list, but I always like to emphasize watch list. I mean, it looks really strong. Looks like a great trade nonetheless at this point heading into the close. Major resistance ahead at 21. Right now, you only see like 11,635 shares on the offer. I'll just say that as much about level 3, but there's definitely a lot more. And we'll talk about that coming up in class. All right, so PLTR definitely just to lead things off, on our afternoon watch list heading into the close. Another one I'll just jump to right now that we'll put on our list still, FCEL. Should be a no-brainer at this point. The only thing that's deterring me away from this stock is something that's deterring me away from DPW, and that's something that Fausto commented on earlier, just when he was in the chat board before. So really quick, that being just the amount of volume that this stock has traded across the day, 192 million shares closing on in right now, FCEL. So as we go from top to bottom in just a moment, you'll see what I'm talking about with DPW. But FCEL, for as much as this moved up, it ended up pulling back down. It was a pretty good short opportunity. I took my time on this. I took a small loss, then I jumped in on the same trade on a short from 8, dropped it down towards 775, and left a lot on the table. Dropped all the way down to 750 and under and over. And at least for right now, it's still near the highs. So the fact that it bounced all the way back up near the highs going into the afternoon, I'm going to put this on our list. The only gripe is just the amount of volume traded across the whole day. It's a lot. So I feel like it's pretty exhausted, which you could see right now. It's kind of trading in a smaller, more consolidated range. But, again, I would say the same thing with DPW. The only difference is that with FCEL, that stock is easy to borrow. You don't have to worry about requesting shares to short. DPW, you might have to worry about seeing if you can get shares or not. Hard to borrow right now. We talked about that at least earlier in the morning phase 2 class, at least. So DPW, for as much as this moved up and up and up, pulled back, it's still kind of near the highs in relation to everything. So maybe I'll come back to this just at the very end. But for the amount of volume the stock has traded and just, oh man, I can't expect it to continue to push up that cleanly as it did from earlier today. So I definitely will check back in if we happen to see this break back, over 6, more buying coming in. Actually, I'd even say 590 first, 13,000 share order on the ask. From there, 6, 24,000 shares just about popped in and out. But yeah, we'll come back to this one at the end. All right, one that we did pretty well on today, FTEC, ended up popping shortly after the market opened up, a few minutes down the line, but right around 10 o'clock, right before 10 o'clock, popped from like 160-ish, took off. So just based on the trend, it was as easy as could be. I don't really toss the E word around too often because, the trading isn't always that easy, right? I mean, much more often than not, it isn't. So, with that in mind, FTEC ended up making the big move. It was very steady off the lows for as much as it popped up, though. You'd imagine for it to come back down. So it, pulled back towards like 190, 185, just pretty tight range here. So I'm going to pass on this for right now. But good trade from the morning. The same with IDEX. This one ended up taking me by surprise. So really quickly on the IDEX trade, we're not going to put this on our list, but just a quick recap of a stock from Friday, end of last week. Ended up showing a lot of activity in pre-market. It was more or less a dud up until the late morning, early afternoon, right? So, pushed up beautifully. And for that reason, I was going to watch this stock going into today. But, this morning ended up making a big spike at like 4 in the morning. Kind of went flat. So I was expecting a bigger pullback, and as soon as the market opened up, just took off. So this one definitely caught me by surprise. Ended up just kind of pushing up towards 288, the high. Volume died off pretty quick on this trade. Oh, I skipped over GTEC. I don't know why I did that. KXIN, though, at least one from Friday, one that we followed up with more this morning. GTEC, though, making a prettier move, at least based on the chart. Looks like a higher low, held pretty nicely around like 680-ish, 685 here. Bounced up from 7. Bit of a spread on this. The order book kind of thin, so that is a bit of a concern to me. But ended up making a big push. Not only today, you could see just going back into like early to mid-November. It looks like we traded this back from like $3.50, $4 all the way up to 10. Pump and dump move, but ended up pushing up the following days after. To those days, we didn't really trade it, but today, I mean, definitely still pretty up. Right as I say that, big shake back down. We'll come back to this GTEC. We'll kind of put it on our like side list alongside DPW. When I say side list too, like I kind of do this slightly, ever so slightly different from Fausto nowadays when he does like the A list and B list, right? So it's basically the same terminology. We put the stocks that we like the most on the top of the watch list, and that those that we do like, there's some activity on them, but we're a bit more uncertain on direction. We'll put those near the middle or near the bottom. I mean, FCEL, obviously. I mean, there's only 2 stocks on our main list so far, but between the two, PLTR and FCEL, 2 pretty good ones either way. FCEL trying to push up even higher here. RENN, RENN. I saw Fausto call this one out. Not today. It was like just maybe even a month back, but he called it out like back-to-back days. So whenever he does that, it will just keep in my head. So this RENN stock, just it's at the highs right now. Kind of same thing, just wacky volume on the order book. It's only trading about like 2,000 shares per minute, so not much. GSM, pump and dump. The CIIC, new, I guess, stock in the EV business, EV sector, ended up making a big push this morning, just continuing to pop and break new highs. So, listen, if we're going to trade a stock that has a bigger spread, like 5 or 10 cent spread, to which I normally wouldn't follow up on a stock that has that big of a spread, like I'd rather follow an FCEL. But nonetheless, this breaking all-time highs, or, did from this morning, trying to re-break a new all-time high today. So I definitely will put this on our list, CIIC. At the same time, I mean, if we're looking at this versus PLTR, which is also breaking all-time highs, or was just up until a moment ago, just popped and dropped 21. This one at least has more liquidity on the book. So if we're kind of ranking them from top to bottom, I'd go from this, then down to that CIIC. All right, let's see what else do we have here, folks. MDGS, nice mover from today. One of our students, David, I want to give him a quick shout out. He had called this one out going into the mid to late morning. I said, hey, it was a good call, and we needed more volume on the trade, and well, it got more volume. So he followed up on it for us in the trading room, and from there we were able to see it run up. So David C, nice call out. Pushed up a little bit higher here heading into the early afternoon, but dumped off. I just right now I'm not as jumpy to put this on our main list. Looks choppy here at this point. Pushed up beautifully earlier. Givo, same thing. At this point, Mara and Riot become like daily looks, at least. I'll at least look at both of them. Mara and Riot, I mean, they're making my typical afternoon just lifeless move here. So I didn't expect a whole lot, but at least at this rate with Bitcoin pushing up and with them starting to, make a little bit more of an afternoon push, I'll look at them just at least every time. Blink not doing a whole lot here. Jumia just continued to pop today. Still going. It looks like it's still going, at least from the early afternoon breakout, from what appears to be 28, where all of that buying came in. Of course, from that point, for every time it broke resistance, we saw more volume getting filled, but the volume traditionally has been waning down as it's been trading in a tighter range, more flat range here. So listen, it's easy to borrow rather. So if it ends up breaking down below a big support, wouldn't shock me to see this come back down towards 28, 28, 30-ish here, the first high of the day. Otherwise, if it holds and then rebreaks 31, I wouldn't be surprised to see a new run. But again, similar to CIIC, just given the volatility and range, I'd rather trade a stock like Jamia or a stock like CIIC over one of those like small pump and dump type plays. In terms of the spread, I'd rather trade FCEL, I'd rather trade PLTR over them. But at least for right now, this definitely seems to be in play both ways, up or down. EV stock XPEV up 21%. Damn, major move back up here on XPEV, breaking new highs. At least earlier it did. More expensive, but just to keep it in mind, I guess. KNDI up 21%. This one's gearing up towards 15. This one looks pretty interesting. 20,000 share order on the ask at 1490. High at the days at 1495, and you assume there's a guy here at 15. So KNDI, always worth a look also here at KNDI. We'll definitely put this on our main watch list. All right, cool. So now at this point, we're building up our list pretty nicely here, folks. If there's anything else that looks good on the gainer side, just type it in the chat board. Let me know. It goes across the board for us here in the trading room and all of us on social media. And then in the meantime, as you folks do that, let me just hop over to the losers list here quick. TCS Container Store. What happened here? I guess would be earnings, but down big. Wow, just more of a recent drop here. You know what? I got the time, actually. We're doing well on time. We have class coming up, so I normally try and zip through. But let me look at the news, see what's up on TCS. Nothing. No real news report that I have from Benzinga. Just reporting that it's down X%. We'll find out more probably tomorrow, or at least later on today. Nonetheless, though, TCS shortable at the lows right now. I wish this was at least moving like this earlier in class, or while we were in the class. At least this afternoon's class will be talking about buying, going long. So probably focus on FCEL, PLTR. NIU trying to squeak back up, I reckon. Oh, I guess I clicked away. Yeah, it wasn't looking that great to begin with. All right. If there's anything else, folks, I know I just did a really quick rummage through on the losers list, but I'm just going from top to bottom. I'm seeing not much that looks like a familiar name, or at least one that is easy to borrow. So if there's anything else that you would want me to look at, up or down more than 5%, just type it here in the chat board. I got a private message from one of our students, Doug C., and he was asking about NBAC. Doug, nice call. Yeah, beautiful. The only gripe on this trade, though, Doug, is just the spread. It's going to be wacky. You can see right now it's 1 cent. Looks good. Watch what happens here in the next couple of moments. Watch, will probably remain a 1 cent spread for like 5 minutes. You just notice the order book. You could see the spaced out liquidity on both sides, the bid and the ask. More on the ask than the bid, but it will open up to be like a 5-7 cent spread at some point here, Doug. So, it's pushing. I don't know what the news is on it. I guess if I look just before, I'll look for this one here too. But there was nothing on Container Store NBAC. This is, yeah. There is nothing. I don't really see at all. All right. Well, I'll tell you. I guess I'll tag this on our list for right now, but I like FCEL here a hell of a lot more. So, FCEL right now making a new high of the day, approaching major iceberg resistance, just chumped right through it at 850. Wow. All right. So, yeah, I mean, for right now, that MBAC will just tag on our list here at the bottom. All right, taking a look back at the trading room right now, I see from top to bottom, let's go with from Bonnie VXRT. Up 7% at the highs right now. So definitely, I'll come back to this. I'll give this a second look at the end. I'll probably take like the one or two that look the best. So definitely in there, Bonnie, or definitely up there. Space, you could say the same thing. I know that Ron W just wrote that in the chat board. So all seem to be kind of like near the highs, up that 7-8+%. So space is also easy to borrow. So if it drops suddenly, then perhaps you can short it. But NCLH, not a whole lot going on there. SPI, little pop, not a whole lot going on otherwise. From Norman, he's talking about ENG. This one, what the hell? How did I miss ENG? Was this like creeping up the list the whole time here? Like, did I like see it go from like 33% to 65% to now like 80%? It's probably just on the losers list as this was like screaming up. Yeah. So, needless to be said, you would imagine, but ENG definitely on our main list and near the top. Ron with A. Oh no, not AL. I'm sorry, AAL. Same thing. AAL looks like really good. New high of the day on this. So I'll check out the airlines, the cruise lines right now. It was pretty interesting. We were watching a lot of stocks in class that were holding at or near the highs as the markets were really dumping off. You can see the SPY S&P 500 ETF. So AAL in particular, Ron, I'd say out of those airlines look to be the best. UAL is not nearly as strong or like near the highs. Delta is, maybe it is the whole sector. We'll check out Jets. Yeah, Jets is right there. The whole sector, I guess. Maybe UAL is like the lame duck of them all. I'd say still keep them on your side list. We have a big list already at this point. Still GTEC somewhat in play. DPW also. Yeah, DPW not as much, I'd say at this point. Troy saying all of the EV stocks did really well today. NIO, Workhorse, XPEV, and Tesla. Yeah, I mean, NIO looks great, breaking new all-time highs. So, a little expensive, but this one out of them all, honestly, I'll slip this on our list too. Spreads are still like, penny, 2 pennies on this NIO trade. SDC up 14% and at 1250. Wow, Chuck. See, and another like really good call. I don't know how I missed this SDC. Was it just not up enough? Like when we were going through? Yeah, I guess so. Number 49 is like 21.5%. So SDC creeping up there. I mean, I like this one a little bit more than AAL. Even I have to say this because you folks know that I always like talk about liquidity. We need to have good liquidity on the order book. I like the fact that SDC has less liquidity on the book compared to AAL, and both are around the same price. Tells me that I'm led to believe I can get a better bang for my buck on SDC here. So both look good in terms of trend and up, somewhat percent, whatnot. But SDC, I feel like, is a better opportunity. So at this point, folks, I think that we have a really good list. I mean, honestly, between SDC, ENG, PLTR, FCEL, those are probably my top 4 out of everything. Then from there, I don't want to sleep on KNDI. NIO, obviously, a little expensive, but that one's like moving up perfectly. And then on the flip side, TCS Container Store, that's near the lows. Maybe we follow up with that just at the very end of the day in the final 30 minutes. See if that could end up breaking lower. All right, from RJF on YouTube, just jumping over to social media right now. I was going to us in the trading room first. From RJF on YouTube saying ARYO up 27%. It is pushing up pretty nicely given the 230 pop, right? Popped over 10, kind of holding right there off 1040. So has good activity, definitely. Just I feel like this stock's moved up too much over the last 3-4 days. It's barely pulled back. It ended up pulling back actually on Friday, but then ran in the after hours a bit, then more so in the pre-market this morning. So, when is this going to drop? All right. I might get my answer soon. Jerry in our trading room saying AYRO is new monies from a banker as of this morning. Oh, so new news perhaps on AYRO. All right, so maybe enough to see it make another run. I mean, for what it's worth, it did earlier today. I knew that there was a common stock offering on this. What was it, back on Friday even? Ended up making a big move. If it wasn't the AYRO, maybe I'm talking solo there, but nonetheless, from one of us inside YouTube, P Trader saying M had a crazy move. Earlier today it did. Yeah, I mean, earlier today it certainly did. I just feel like, this stock's similar with a lot that we do see at this point in the day. Not just like this stock or, just this time of the day. for a stock that made a big move like this, at least, up 17+%, trading 60 million shares, it trades about 24 million on average. So it is near the highs. I like that part. I just feel like for as much of a move as it made, is it really going to continue to break out higher? Let's see, how many do we have on this list? Maybe we have room for one or two more here. We have a couple that still look pretty good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Technically, my rule is 12. So we got 10 on our list. We'll slip Macy's on here. And then at the end, honestly, I want to jump back to GTEC. Volume's waning off on this trade, but something about this until this ends up snapping lower, and if it does, then just move away from it. But something about this, and especially if it could break above resistance off of like 725, 730-ish there from the chart, I feel like we could see a new run. So we'll max out our list here at this point at 12. I never like to have too many on our list because it might overwhelm like new students, new traders joining us. It's not what we would want to do. All right, folks, for all of us inside the trading room, we're going to post and copy and paste the picks, tweet them out to all of us in social media as well. We'll also attach the link for class coming up pretty shortly, so just stay tuned for that. At the bell here, Chuck calling out XGBX. Let's see. It's at the highs. Yep, 18%. Ended up making a bit of a move on Friday. It's a known pump and dump, by the way. I would just be a little skeptical of this. I guess I'll slip this on at the end, Chuck. You got me at the bell, but all right, big list heading into this afternoon, folks. Just start with what you're comfortable with. Start with one on this list really here first. Don't just jump to something else, but otherwise start with what you're comfortable with. From there, I know that Fausto will be back on the audio commentary. I think at like 3:30 he'll jump back on, and then in the meantime, I know that Rich will be taking over the screen in just a moment. All right, folks, I'll talk to you all soon. For all of us on social media, just make sure that you look to join us Monday to Friday live in the Cyber Group trading room here. Otherwise, just like, subscribe, notify right on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/cybertradingu. Take care.